and the artillery 19cm barrel. The Luger artillery version with adjustable sights also came with a large capacity snail drum magazine and attachable butt stock. Meanwhile, Spain, utilizing Browning's earlier designs, became the powerhouse of design and production for Europe. The French and Italian governments ordered large contracts for 7.65mm automatic pistols, and dozens of small companies sprang up to meet the demand. After the First World War, these companies continued to manufacture Ibur automatics named after the Spanish territory that was the center of arms manufacturing. The poor quality of design and material used in some of these companies led to a decline in the demand for Spanish-made arms. It would take many years for the Spanish to counter this trend. Other designs of note include the German Walther pistol that conquered the double-action requirement. An automatic pistol could only be carried either loaded and hammer-cocked with safety on, or with an empty breech and hammer down, requiring additional effort to ready to fire from the holster. Walther enabled pistols to be cocked and then drop the hammer with a safety. The trigger need only be squeezed to raise the hammer to the cocked position, then released to fire a round. The Walther P38 was adopted by the German Army in 1937. French designer Charles Peter made modifications to Browning's locked breech and produced a pistol for the French Army. His design patent was purchased sometime later by the Swiss and modified to produce the SIG line of pistols. The Japanese introduced their own homegrown revolver design in 1893, the Meiji 9mm 26 Nenkenju. Although it did have several mechanical traits identical to other overseas models. They also produced an 8mm self-loading pistol. The Taisho Model 04, designed by Kijiro Nambu, though not officially accepted as an officer's sidearm, was very popular with them nonetheless. It was also chambered for various calibers, including 7mm. The later Model 14, introduced in 1925, saw action in Manchuria. After which it was modified once more in 1937 with lessons learned in the field. Unfortunately for Japanese officers, the Model 94 was also introduced during wartime. Production standards slipped and the weapon became hazardous to operate. Browning made improvements to his 1911 design, which evolved into the Browning high-power pistol. Again, another very popular weapon. Once again, apart from fiddling with the details, the basic automatic pistol design was set by the late 1930s. Pistol designs and manufacturers proliferated throughout Europe and other countries, ever improving designs. Germany began to rearm and was one of the few military organizations to look to new pistol designs. As mentioned, the German military officially adopted the Walther P38. Other Walther designs, the PP appeared in several calibers, and the small but venerable PPK also saw military service. The Belgian FN Model 1910 remained in service during the Second World War and was produced for Luftwaffe crews. The Polish Vis service pistol was also adopted by the Waffen-SS through till 1944. The British Webley of .455 caliber used during the First World War was improved. The Mark IV led to the Enfield No. 2 Mark I revolver, which was chambered for .38 Smith & Wesson and was widely used amongst Commonwealth forces. The Beretta Modello 1934, a fine compact pistol, was taken up as the Italian service pistol and grew to become a popular collector's item. Browning's HP 9mm pistol continued to be produced during the war. The Canadians also produced this weapon and a re-engineered version called the Ingalls High Power. The Czechoslovakian arms manufacturer produced the CZ VZ-38. It served with their military forces, but ultimately was unsuccessful. The United States retained the Colt M1911A1 in .45 ACP as their standard sidearm until late in the 20th century. Soviet forces utilized Browning's successful design to produce the Tokarev TT-33 as their standard pistol, replacing the rarer TT-30. It was more ruggedly designed. Manufacture under license extended to many other countries, including China. Later in the 20th century, several European arms manufacturers became leaders in their marketplaces, while names like SIG, Heckler & Koch, Browning, Colt and Smith & Wesson retained their market share. Other nations like South Africa and Israel were forced to develop their own arms industries. Today, modern military sidearms are not dissimilar in nature, but perhaps in brand name. The United States eventually dropped the Colt 45 for the Beretta 94 model, a high-capacity 9mm weapon. That and the newer .40 inch being the dominant calibers. Manufacturers Glock, Heckler & Koch, Sig Sauer and CZ, Smith & Wesson all offer semi-auto models in common calibers. All these models are manufactured to high standards, and with modern ammunition they seldom jam or misfire. Properly maintained, they all have a long operational lifespan. The future of these weapons seems secure. Other areas of improvement will not be an engineering matter, but perhaps involve advanced electronics for safety or biometrics, so a sidearm can be keyed to just one person. The gun will not function for anyone else. Video camera and other targeting electronics are already in use. Perhaps caseless ammunition or guided projectiles will be the next breakthrough in small arms.